and other players you sign have been terrible. I think it's very, very different now, where the club has kind of gone back to a strategy that it naturally created without putting it out there in the late 50s, early 60s, and that was through its youth policy. And QPR during that period had probably the most enviable youth policy, youth scheme, youth team in the whole of London. So when you had players just coming through, naturally, if they were good players, bigger clubs would go and sign them. And the most obvious thinking is during the period when Clive Allen went and Goddard went, and that was accepted. Then we went through a terrible period up until about probably 3-4 years ago, where our youth structure was just like nonsense. And then that's been reset. So I look upon it as what we're trying to do now, and it's out there in the public domain. Lee Hughes talks about it. We try and buy low and sell high. So consequently, you're buying players in their early 20s, probably not. You don't want to buy players above 28, 30 years of age because they got very limited, if no sell-on value. So I'm looking at it from that point of view. So to me, without any doubt, it's an obvious answer. The best player that we've signed, from a value point of view, has been, and we didn't actually sign him from anyone, was a Barry Eze, because we picked him up after he was let go by 5 or 6 clubs, and Eze came in. We brought him into the side. We played him a few games. He then built up the second season. And then 2 seasons running, he was our standout player. And then we got £19.5 million from Crystal Palace for him. So from the policy that we've now got strategically, and then the same thing's going, a lot of the supporters haven't got their head around that yet. Chair will go. End of this season, I don't know. Willock will go. End of this season, I don't know. Seny Dieng will go. These players we either bring in through the youth policy or we pick them up for a song. We then sell them on for high money. And we're going to have to do that unless we get into the Premier League and pick up that 180 million for the one season there before we get relegated. So from a best signing point of view, I would say without any doubt on that policy, I'd go Eze. And I'll just stop there, let everyone else chip in. I'm not going to talk about.
Well, can I give a historical signing then?
Yeah, go on, anyone you like, Neil.
Yeah, Phil Parkes, without a doubt.
£15,000 he cost.
£15,000.
Good shout.
Is that best value because he scored 25 goals, or
if he did, it would have been a miracle.
No, he was by far the best signing without a doubt. He was young and he was the best goalkeeper in the country, to my view.
And went for a world record transfer fee for a goalkeeper.
Yes.
What year was that?
It was after the war.
It was Bowles Francis era, 70s.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think. 15,000 in the 70s. What would that be in today's money?
Still not a lot of money.
Not a lot of money.
No.
And he was signed by Les Allen.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess there's more recent times, someone that you've picked up for a bargain. That's
the best signing,
resale value, just for the values delivered in season or over a couple of seasons.
Right. Best signing and best selling, Raheem Sterling.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes.
Hello, Kevin.
Definitely.
Raheem Sterling.
Good evening all.
Yeah, we took 20% of the sell-on value, which was just under 50 million. So we took nearly 10 million out of that.
But again, this is talking about values and what the club has made and all that stuff. But I think, obviously you guys know a lot more about QPR than I do. No offense to the majority of you, but because you're a lot older and have been to QPR a lot longer than I've been going, obviously I think about, where did we get someone like, he's obviously not our best signing ever, but someone like Jamie Mackey? They come from, was it Oxford FC?
No, Plymouth.
Yeah, and look at like what he did for our club. I mean in terms of what the effort he put in every
Yeah,
match.
big goals as well.
Yeah, big goals in big matches. I think he scored. We
He
won the
said on
game.
the other day,
Liverpool.
Jack, Connor, he was saying that on Sky, he was saying that goal at Derby, you know, the last minute equaliser,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
2 when they first began the season, when they were 2-0 down at the end of 90 minutes.
Mm.
He said that was the most important goal he ever scored in his career.
Well, there we
Because
go.
he said the team all went in the dressing room after that, and they all thought, if we can pull that back from nothing,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
we might do something this year.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot in that squad
He had his
alone.
leg broken at Blackburn.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
But
you're
in that
right,
squad
Con.
alone, there's
You're right,
a
Con. I
lot
said
of.
I'll just throw one more in during that era because we just bought a lot of players who were past their sell-by date, but suddenly they weren't because Warnock turned them into an incredible, championship-winning squad. The most obvious one, and we paid reported £1 million for him, was Adel Taarabt.
Well, yeah.
Adel Taarabt cost £1 million from Tottenham, and he was the championship player of the year. I mean, what a brilliant signing that was for the money and just what
He might beat Raheem, Alan.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know
That
about
might
that.
beat Raheem.
I think I haven't even thrown in my trump card with Jay Godfroyd.
Oh yeah.
Worst ever.
The obvious choice, the one that leaps off the page. Yeah. Well, yeah. Unless you've got to have a mention for another £15,000 player,
yeah,
which was Rodney Marsh.
Rodney Marsh. 15,000.
Yeah. Stuart, what do you think, mate? Who do you think was the for you QPR's best ever value signing?
Well, I was having to think about this today when you put the question up, and I was sitting there thinking, my good knowledge goes back to probably 1990. Before that, then it becomes a bit fuzzy for me. But about 1990 onwards, I'm pretty good. And I was thinking, I had a few names in mind. I mean, I couldn't remember how much we paid for him, and I should have looked it up. I can't imagine it was much. And someone like Simon Barker, which I don't think we paid much for at all. And I think he done 15 seasons with us, scored so many goals, so many important goals from midfield. He was our captain, probably the most consistent in the Premier League for us. So I had Simon Barker up there.
Yeah, I think we only bought him for about 400k from memory, which wasn't that much.
Yeah, it wasn't that much, and he had
that was a great signing.
That was a decent fee at that time. I think in about 19. Oh, well, actually, that was in the 1980s. I think we bought.
Yeah, end of the 80s.
Yeah. So it was that 400,000 at that time weren't small money, but it weren't astronomical either.
No,
And I think Connor was making a point about in recent times that team that went up with Warnock. I don't think we spent much money on that team at all, did we?
No.
And you could pick. I mean, look, Taarabt is obvious. It's £1 million, and he practiced and he, he got promoted. And then you just look at the other guys in there, like you said, Jamie Mackey, and the people like Clint Hill, Derry.
Even Paddy Kenny as a goalkeeper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alejandro Forlan. I know Forlan cost 3.5 million, which is a decent money as well. But I mean, have you seen a better player in the last, 30 years? I mean, I think he was I know Taarabt got the headlines, but for me, Forlan was the man. He was the player.
Yeah.
And
Don't forget, Forlan was on the way to Liverpool and Barcelona, and both times he was about to leave, and the deal was about to be done, and he got injured.
Yeah. Right, there you go.
Barcelona were about to buy him, and he got the first knee injury, and then when he come back and he was all set to go, Liverpool were about to buy him, and that kiboshed that deal as well.
I think everyone.
So I don't know what the fees were, but I'm guessing, a player going to Barcelona from England in those days, and Liverpool obviously would have paid. Well, I mean, he was the perfect midfielder at that time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And how much did we play for Heider Helgeson?
Not much. 500,000 was it?
What a player he was for us.
It was
Martin Rowlands. 500,000 again, probably.
Yeah.
How much? I mean, how much money did we actually make off of selling all those players who were still considered good once we sold them off. I mean, how much did Adel Taarabt actually sell for?
Not much at all. Not much.
No.
You make a good point, Connor, because this is about yes, what they've done for the club, but did we get? I guess you want to bring in resale value as well, which I think for most.
Yeah, so I'm going back to
Yeah.
my other point of
Yeah.
kind of doing the whole 360 on it.
Yeah, which a lot of us are leaving out really, because a lot of these players I'm mentioning, I don't think we could made any money off. We've only started making money off players recently.
I mean, who went to Swansea and ended up there for years?
Manning or Routledge?
I mean, Routledge. I mean that was obviously a good sign because he went to Swansea for quite a lot of money, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think it was that much. I don't think it was 2 million.
The thing is, a lot of those players in that squad were reaching the end of their career.
Yeah.
They were not a young squad.
I'll throw in a wild card here for a little bit of a discussion. He was up for, I think, about 5 million, maybe slightly more than that. And we sold him for, I think, just under 3. Got the goal of the century.
Oh, Bobby
Trevor
Zamora.
Sinclair.
Trevor Sinclair.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, without being too critical, it epitomised our club at the time.
Yeah. I remember when that happened, and I remember thinking, I mean, if anyone would have asked you before he got sold how much is Sinclair worth, at that time you'd be saying 7-8 million, which was massive money. And then he went for 3.5, and Impey went for 1.5. Who was player of the season 3 years running. We made no money.
Yeah.
I know. When you think Sinclair went on to play for Man City in England in the World Cup.
Yeah.
He was class. He was great.
Unbelievable.
Run club.
Yeah.
But then we are obviously, sorry, just one point out before we go into who the worst signings are. We haven't mentioned Charlie Austin because obviously Charlie Austin, the first time he signed him, we then went on to sell for, I'm assuming, a decent amount of.
No, it wasn't.
No, we didn't.
Million.
Nothing. It wasn't.
No, he was going to be out of contract at the end of that season. They came in the January transfer window, and we sold him for a song again. Our selling price
20 goal a season Premier League striker, 5 million.
But he was at the end of his contract, so that's what we got.
I was saying he was going to go in the summer for free, so we had to take what we could. Yeah.
And I'm going to jump straight into the next one because I can see that Jack's going to be
the worst ever QPR signing. Yeah, go on.
But I would say 100% Boss Winger.
Oh.
There should be a
someone who did
there
not
should be a
care at
statue of him.
all.
He's so bad.
He's so bad. And he did not care one bit.
No,
we went to the Aston Villa game. Can you remember that, Dad? We went to the Aston Villa game, and he kicked the ball into our corner like he wants to give the corner away.
Started laughing.
That was it. He started laughing.
The interesting thing about that Hughes.
Do you remember the crowd singing "We Don't Want You Here"?
It's not so much the fact
against Newcastle at home, and he got taken off at half time by Harry.
Yeah. The interesting
thing cost the Rangers 2 goals, and the fans we're all singing whatever your bloody name is, "We Don't Want You Here." And I've never ever seen that happen at Rangers, and he got taken off, which was completely justified.
The interesting thing about the Hughes Redknapp era was not so much how much money we paid for these players, because actually we didn't pay anything for Boss Winger. It was their salaries. We had a goalkeeper in Pat Kenny. We then bought a goalkeeper who was about to go out of contract in Rob Green. He was on 28 grand a week at West Ham, and we paid him 45. And then we weren't satisfied. We went and got the Brazilian goalkeeper Cesar, who was out of contract with Inter Milan, and we're paying him £95,000 a week. Bosinga was on 90. How many of those players were on 75 to £100,000 a week?
Disgusting.
I look at how bad that was. The management.
Only the one promotion were on under about 25 or 30.
And that's what we call taking the piss.
I remember Joey Barton actually said, he goes, look, he said it in public. He goes, I never really wanted to go to QPR, but they offered me such big money, you couldn't turn it down. You know, players didn't want to come. They didn't love the club. You know, the club had loads of all this money, and it was just a stop. You know, the end of the careers, pick up some money and drop off into the sunset.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of inexperience in the backroom staff and the directors, and not really knowing what to do when we went up to the Premier League and how to handle it. To be honest with you, and giving all the control to someone like Mark fucking Hughes.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll tell you. Can I just chip in another wild card? I'm going to chip in this one. Great player, great goal scorer. Turned up in his Range Rover, and his name was Ottawingi.
Yeah,
a great signing. Oh no, he didn't. Sky TV said he was going to sign. Everyone said he was going to sign, and no, he didn't sign. He was told to get back to West Brom straight up that M1 straight away, which he did. So there's another little indiscretion by Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah.
Here's one. When we sold Les Ferdinand, we got that nice £6 million, which was big money back then. We spent it on two really, really good players.
Mark Aitley.
Who were they?
Mark Aitley.
Well, yeah, actually, he was actually maybe three players then. Sorry, yeah, my bad. Who's the other two? Mark Haitley.
Tell us, Stuart.
Ned Zellick. And Simon Osborne.
Yeah.
No one remembers them, do they?
No.
That's where all that.
I found Ned Zellick in Australia.
Yeah.
I was down in Canberra on business, and I was watching that you guys will know the Brumbies, you know, the rugby team. And they were playing the Tower. Anyway, I got chatting to some people in the crowd, very good looking. And they said, why don't you come back to our community centre afterwards for a beer, Steve, because you're away on whatever. So I went back and I was chatting away to him, and I said, we've got this wanker who's Australian. I said, and he's really cost us a load of money, and he can't settle in Fulham or Hammersmith. Anyway, they said, what's his name? I said, Zellick. They went, his family live here in Canberra. And they went, they're all builders. And I went, you're joking? And I went, no. So I said, does he live far away? And they said, no, it's only around the corner. I said, right, I'm going to go around here and put a QPR shirt on his front door. So, because I used to have a few shirts when I travelled down there. And I went round there and attached the QPR shirt to his front door as a little souvenir of the club's love and everything.
He wouldn't recognise it.
They all thought it was hilarious.
And you
at the time, he was bricklaying.
There's nobody liked him down there either.
At the time, Kev, he was bricklaying, wasn't he?
I couldn't believe he couldn't settle in Shepherd's Bush. The first Australian in living memory who didn't settle in Shepherd's Bush.
I'm gonna throw a different one out there.
Was a bit funny, didn't he? He cost a lot of money.
No, but Simon Osborne was all right, but he couldn't get in the side because he was in Ray Wilkins' position, and Wilkins would never play him.
Yeah,
that was his problem.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I remember when Osborne came, and he was meant to be a good. I remember him well. I do remember thinking, no, this isn't a bad signing. But like you say, Neil, he couldn't get in the side, and I think the games he did play weren't that impressive, you know.
No, well, he just wasn't given the chance.
No, he didn't have long enough, I suppose. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I was
going to throw one out there, lads.
Page here on Mark Haley.
Who?
I mean, I remember when I sent Colin a text saying, I remember when he signed, he was on crutches in an overcoat on the halfway line in a midweek game, and Colin turned around saying he's going to have a job running in that.
Yeah.
He wasn't any quicker though when he took the overcoat off and the crutches.
He looked like Max Wall.
Jack, I'm intrigued. What were you going to say?
So when we were relegated in 2001, Ian Holloway thought that we would sign someone who was, you know, like skillful, who could, you know, do all these different things. And I remember even back then, like people were comparing him to like Thierry Henry. And thinking about this new winger that we were going to get. And I think a lot of you remember him because he had quite a funny name. Oh, not funny name, but like a name for remembering. Remember Doodoo?
Do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember him.
Doo-doo.
Yeah.
He for some reason
You mean Dodo?
He
yeah,
kept
exactly.
dribbling.
we got this bloke thinking that he was going to be the next Thierry Henry. He scored. He actually scored 3 goals, but the fact that he was so hyped up for us, and then like came from, I can't remember where he came from. He came from somewhere like really random, like Farnborough, I think it was, or something. And we all thought he was going to be the next big thing. It's one of the worst players I've ever seen in the QPR shirt. Like, I remember passing the ball and he went to touch it, and you know, like when you play football and you're really young and the ball just goes under your foot. That was literally what I remember him for. People were passing the ball and the ball would just go under his foot. So yeah, he was awful, doo-doo.
Yeah, but Colin, you might
Good
remember the young guy that I can't remember his name, but he went to Cardiff. He couldn't get off the drugs and anything.
Colcar.
No, what was his name? The little fella.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember
On the
his name.
drugs.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Leon, was that Leon Janey?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the guy.
What was his name?
Yeah. Leon Janey, I think.
Yeah.
Bald head.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
he had a lot of ability, a lot of skill, but
Yeah.
was living in a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you what's worrying about this is that I think we've had so many players that you forget who we have had.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably quite worrying.
Yeah. Gus Caesar.
Oh yes. So what about the what was the 2 South Americans? Was it Vargas and?
Vargas was
Oh
all
yeah,
right
the
for us.
Chileans.
Yeah, but what was his mate's name?
Oh.
Yeah.
Vargas.
One of them was
alright.
Chilean, wasn't he?
Was it Issa or something?
I can't remember.
One was a striker.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was Easter. It's
I think Vargas, he refused to come on at Liverpool, didn't he? Harry tries to put him on, he refused to, and he put his suit back on and went and sat down.
Yeah.
Well,
Lovely bloke.
I
think that kind of sums it all up, really.
Yeah, interestingly,
I'll tell you what-
interestingly, those two guys have got about 90 Chilean caps between them.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I know.
And
They
Chile,
were
Chile
good
not a
players
bad side.
for us.
They were
And
just-
then we had the
It's amazing how
two.
much rubbish we've acquired.
We seemed to buy in pairs, didn't we? So we also had the 2 poles. I think in the end we called them North Pole and South Pole.
They were poles apart.
They were all poles apart. One played quite a lot, and he was quite good. I can't remember his name though.
the winger.
Yeah,
Zolek.
You remember it, Connor?
Zolek.
Yeah.
what was his name?
Zolek.
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 Pavel Zolek. Yeah.
He scored a great goal at Fulham.
Right.
Yes.
What was his mate's name?
Was
The guy
it
that played in midfield.
Bosic or something?
Bosic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
How many
I
games
don't
did he
know. I
play?
remember all these bloody players. They just stick in my. I remember all the crap.
You remember all the good players, Stuart?
Yeah.
But how many players
I'm,
from the academy were they keeping out of the team?
Yeah.
You know, all this rubbish turning up, and there was kids in the academy that could have been given a chance. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, all these guys just rolling up on a conveyor belt, and no kid could get into the team.
No.
And there must have been some talent. I mean, I was looking at the England team tonight. Mitchell playing for England tonight. I mean, he Brentford missed him. He was in the Brentford thing just when they disbanded their academy.
Yeah.
And he went to Palace. So that's 45 million quid's worth when Palace sell him, I guess. I watched him play the other week. He's a really fabulous fullback. Really very, very good player. But no, I was just thinking, you know, the damage Hughes did when not only was he, you know, bringing in these coach loads of guys, but, you know, imagine being in the academy at that time, wondering if you were ever going to get a chance to sit on the bench even, you know. And there must have been some players in that academy who could have, you know, stepped up and played the odd game.
I think the difference then, Kevin, is none of those players. I don't think we had any attention on our academy properly. I don't think they were being nurtured or looked after. Whereas now, it's kind of our main. It's a focus of ours, isn't it? I think we had the money.
Yes,
Forget about them. We'll just buy it, and we'll deal with those guys later. it's so much more refreshing to see what we're doing now.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I think that's a good
I'd
point
rather
to
give
end
the
on.
academy
Sorry,
guys a
sorry,
chance
Kev,
and-
I'm going to interrupt
Sorry.
you, mate.
Off you.
I think that's a good point to end on, lads. Said would be half an hour. Going to do the same next week, same time.
We were just warming up.
Yeah, I know. We got half an hour in the slot.
We've got to
Same
get Mark
time next
Haley on
week.
next week.
Yeah, we'll get Mark Haley on it. I was thinking of I'm going to reach out to Kevin Gallen, see if he wants to join as well.
Ooh.
But yeah, click the same link this time next week. Stuart, really good to meet you and have you on, mate. Stuart, I'm going to sign.
Yeah, cheers,
send you
Stuart.
just a sign up
good to
form
see you,
as well to our website. Harm, I know you couldn't speak today, mate, because I see you're on mute. But feel free to join in next, mate, and we'll just keep everything growing as we have these chats.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been babysitting, mate. Sorry, thank you.
I'll make sure I've got
Right,
my red wine as well next week.
Yeah, all right.
And we'll just leave it on this note. 3 points on Saturday, guys.
How many are we going to?
Cheers.
You've been
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
See you next
Bye.
week.
Thank you.
Have a good
Right,
week.
guys.
Bye.
Yours.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
You too.